So I'm personally new to this class, the Crusader class, and I, like many others, looked up some builds and I was very confused. Just the way um, the guides are communicated and just the whole kind of season-based stuff is very confusing to a new player that doesn't play Diablo 3 or is new to the game. So there was a lot of terms and stuff I had to get used to, but you know what? I decided, hey, look, I've built some pretty cool builds in the past. I'm going to do my own thing, and I've actually come up with something really cool, and it's very viable. Now, I just finished Act 5 on this guy, and have just done 2 solo riffs on Expert, and so far so good. I've gained some items, and as soon as I've gotten these items, his power level has just gone up, and it's very playable and very enjoyable build. So this is essentially my first key item. Um, on my previous run, I've gotten these two, which I haven't even identified, just to show you guys how powerful this build is. And yeah, it's nothing special. Increases holy damage, just very generic level 42 stuff. The main kind of damage, the sources of power are these gloves, um, essentially, and this one-handed mace. I prefer this kind of because of the speed and the mobility of the build. I don't even know what other people run, but I'm sure this is a very viable build for people that are starting the class or just new to the class or starting the game and just want to be able to do the good content, the difficult content on a good rate. So skill wise, we've got Punish. You can also use Slash, but I prefer Punish with the raw rune. Fist of Heavens, which is a very key part of it, and you'll see it very shortly. Falling Sky, which is a damage dealer, stun, and also mobility in fights. Condemn when Unleash, which is instant based, very powerful, takes massive chunks out of their health. Steed Charge with Endurance is an obvious one, just to kind of get around quicker. And Law of Valor. Now the reason why I've used Law of Valor is due to increase in attack speed, but if you're struggling, especially in the earlier levels or going up through fighting bosses and stuff like that, you can always change it to Laws of Justice for the extra defense. But since I don't really need it, I'm very tanky and my health really barely goes down through enemy attacks, I prefer Laws of Valor due to the speed increase. Now, my passive skills, we've got Fervor, increasing the 15% attack speed and the cooldown reduction, which is a massive thing in this because you're constantly spamming your skills. Block, obviously for the wrath increase, but you know, this is kind of, you can go other things I'll show you guys shortly. And this to just increase your damage and holy damage and increase, have some self heals. You can also choose to yeah, I'm really not sure to be honest. Fanaticism kind of works really well instead of insurmountable. I previously, when I was struggling a bit, I was using renewal due to the increase in health from the blocks, and you can also probably use righteousness as well. So this one, the second one we're using, this is optional. You can go, but these two I feel that are quite key to this, and we haven't even unlocked their level 70 yet. But yeah, let's finish off this rift. I want to show you guys how it goes on a normal rift without these two items, and then we'll try it again with those two items, just to give you a good idea of how powerful this one is. Okay, so basically, okay, elites right up, boom. It's so powerful. You want to get these fists around due to the arc ability, which I've used on this one. So as you can see, and I'm sure there's stronger builds, don't get me wrong, but this is pretty good for someone who hasn't consumed years of seasons of information and weird ass builds. But there we go. Patience, that's right. So at this point I just move on because I'm gonna get my chance here. And you want to choose the highest hitter or the strongest and just focus on them with your punish. I think in general though, because of its survivability, that's kind of what you're offsetting, but at the same time it's very powerful. The damage is really good and it's a very enjoyable build to play. It feels right. Like, I'm sure a lot of builds exist which are high damage, but they're not as fun to play. They're not engaging to play hours on end. But this one definitely does the job. Now let's get in there. I would just lay 2 of these, get some arc damage going and just continue on. Or alternatively, just junk in. Oh, there's a lead here. The enemy itself isn't doing much. Keep going. And this is, I think this is pretty good in time-wise for a very new Crusader with very little items. So you can also use Steed to kind of damage your way through the enemy, but I prefer the endurance version of it because I feel like I'm quick enough and I'm killing enough. The trash just melts. So with the Fist of Heavens, you want to kind of make a triangle out of it, and then that way everyone gets hit and you're maximizing your damage. Let us stun this dude. I love the stun, it's so good. I feel like with Diablo 3 at least, the meta is at times very focused on specific sets and doesn't always think about the replayability of the build or how likely it is for people to actually get that far into the game. So this will definitely get you through PvE, all the PvE content. Besides that, yeah, it's been really fun to play. It's just a generally fun build. And actually, I forgot to show you guys the Paragon levels because that's probably important as well. But it's very obvious given how much Paragon levels I have. I'm quite new to the game still. I'm not that far into the end game. So, boom. Now, you know what? I'm gonna now use these new legendaries I haven't been using. Let's look at our stats here. What is this? Okay. Extra gold, increase attack speed of your pets. Oh, I don't have any pets, but still. Yeah, okay, let's just do it for now. Okay, that's definitely upgrade. What does it cost on one is when you're just... Okay, it's kind of justice damage. I don't use justice, but still, it's an upgrade. Okay, so we've definitely improved our stats here. Let me just show you guys what I have in terms of Paragon levels. So Wrath management is probably the big thing. It's the bottleneck of this kind of build or setup, but I imagine it's quite common throughout the builds. So you want to maximize on the Wrath and resource management as well. So I prefer to put it into critical hit damage because that's a big part of the DPS that I do. resistance, life, and yeah, just I'd imagine a lot of rest of my stuff is going to be going to resource cost reduction and items that do the same thing for me. Let's try this big boy out. Okay, see, it's OP, and any damage is probably just these beams, really. These boom. And yeah, the Rift Guardians are quite easy. Like, this guy's very good with bosses, actually. Very tanky, a lot of survivability, and just grinds through them easily. Ideally, you want to put a few of these around, but I just put it on them because I feel like I'm doing enough DPS anyway. Stun him. What damage? What damage? Easy. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this. I definitely will be putting an upgrade for max level once I kind of make improvements and tweak it a bit further and make sure that it's very viable for you guys. But yeah, thanks for watching.